Samsung dropped this S26 for $899. Then Honor dropped this Honor 600 Pro also for $899. The S26 gets a 4300 mAh battery, but the A600 Pro gets a 6400 mAh battery. And you're probably wondering, Shaz, battery isn't everything. Well, of course, but there's so many other elements of the spec that is something to look out for. And in this video review, we're going to break down the main components of the OS, the AI, the cameras, and gaming performance on both of these phones to show you why the $899 story here tells one thing, but one phone does look ordinary against the other. Let's start where the title starts, and that's all about the battery. The S26 gets a 4300 mAh battery, and that has grown a little bit over the last few years, but in real world terms, let's break it down. You get 15 hours here roughly of active usage time, which is pretty good. The 600 Pro has a 6400 mAh battery and is in a body that's 7.8 millimeters thick. But in terms of the active usage time, you're looking at 25 plus hours of usage on the 600 Pro versus the 15 on the S26, which again tells you about a significant difference. But there's other elements here that you should keep an eye out. For example, the S26 gets a 25 watts of charging speeds, 80 watts on the 600 Pro. Again, significant difference. So in real world terms, that means 60% is realized in around about 30 minutes, which is almost exactly the same as the 600 Pro, even though it has a significantly larger battery. So if you're watching content back on both of these phones, let's give an example. 30 minutes, screen brightness maxed out. The S26 uses around about 2.5%. The 600 Pro, 1%. Yeah, just a single figure of 1. But there's other elements here as well. For example, if you were to game on both of these, they both perform really, really well. Playing more newer demanding games like ZZZ, it runs really good. Good frame rates, stability throughout, no crashes, nothing really to decipher between the two in terms of what runs better, but both will look really, really good. They'd also sound really good too. In terms of the SoC, the Honor 600 Pro gets last year's Snapdragon 8 Elite, the Exynos 2600 in the S26, and you're probably thinking at this point, Shaz, this is slam dunk wink for the Honor. Well, actually, no, it's not. In fact, if you look at Nano Review and Geekbench within it, they actually favor the S26, and then Tutu only minorly favors the 600 Pro, which means that the processing for both of these is very, very similar. But when you put this under heavy load, for example, under 3D Mark's Lifestyle Extreme test, you then get some interesting results. In fact, the S26 will throttle more, than the 600 Pro, but the latter does achieve higher loop scores. When you look at efficiency, things like battery usage and percentage, both of them again output similar results. And in terms of the OS, functionality, etc., there's no difference here. They're pretty much exactly the same. Both will do most of things like opening and closing apps really quickly, multiple windows, browsing, content consumption, all that. Both of these will just smash both out of the park. No real major real world difference here between the two. On the AI front, linked to the OS, it's really, really interesting because both are packed full of AI features. And we wanted to run a quick test to see how that AI processing works on both these devices, and it's actually really good. While the AI eraser function was used here for the 600 Pro and the S26, and it's the 600 Pro that actually is able to deliver results just a little bit quicker than the S26, which is really, really interesting. But if you were just using both, they are very, very snappy and easy to use. But is the S26 that offers 7 OS updates versus the 6 on the Honor 600 Pro. And in terms of those OS updates, in terms of timings, I would say Samsung is going to be delivering them just a little bit sooner than Honor will on the 600 Pro. Where the 600 Pro does have a little bit of advantage is linked to image generation through Google VO2. That's a feature that's only on the 600 Pro, not on the S26. Yes, it's trialed. Yes, it's for a small amount of time. Yes, to use it long term, you will need a premium subscription, but it is worth mentioning. Other thing to note on here that I found really interesting is both phones came with quite a few of pre-installed apps. Some you can delete, some you can't delete, but it's worth mentioning that there is a fairly decent amount on both of these phones. So if you're someone who wants to get rid of a lot of those, you can for some, but not all. Cameras. Delivered in very different ways. Let's talk about the main lenses. The 600 Pro gets you a 200 megapixel, the S26 gets a 50 megapixel, and that larger sensor really does stand out between the two here. You get really crisp and detailed images on both, but the 600 Pro does a better job in dealing with a variety of lighting conditions and is able to process images in a more pleasing way. The S26 is outputting good quality images though. When you hit 2x, you get the exact same results on both as the 1x. No loss of quality or noise found here. It's at night where you see the big uplift. The 600 Pro has the same nighttime processing as the Magic 8 Pro. So images here are very crisp and detailed with great processing of darker areas and doesn't overly brighten or sharpen images in a way that the S26 does. That smaller sensor is limiting here on the S26 versus the 600 Pro, which does look dated versus the 600 Pro as well. I want to mention that. The ultra wide is 12 megapixel on both, offering decent overall quality, nothing amazing, but they are fairly usable, delivering nice colors. If you look away from the images, there's not much in the way of vignetting either. Then the telephoto is a huge win for the 600 Pro. It's a 3.5x periscope telephoto, 50 megapixel versus the 10 on the S26. And when you hit that 80mm and above, you get really nice images here with retention in detail and no AI process imaging happening here. The S26 is the similar length, delivers okay results, but if you zoom further, the S26 telephoto quickly falls apart and isn't able to deliver reasonably good results. The 600 Pro, even at 30x, still retains a level of detail and quality, and yes, AI is at work here, but it's not overly enhanced. Video output wise, both will do 4K. In fact, the S26 will do 8K, and I think the video on the S26 is slightly better in terms of how it looks and processes versus the 600 Pro. So the winner here throughout is pretty easy. In fact, it's a slam dunk win for the 600 Pro, and it just shows you the decline that Samsung is having and has had for a number of years on its flagship devices, because this S26 hasn't changed at all. In fact, when we got this, the idea was to do a full video review on it, but it wasn't justified because not much has changed beyond a few small aesthetics. But the Honor 600 Pro is awesome. It has far better camera system, battery, equally good as in terms of OS, and build is excellent. And the screen, which would be considerably better, brighter, more responsive than the S26, we didn't even bring up because we got that in dedicated review. I'm not even highlighting things like Honor's IK when it comes to things like PWM dimming, for example. But let us know in the comment section below your thought. If you had 899 and you had to choose between these two phones, which one are you buying, or are you getting something completely different? And if you found this video review helpful, which I'm sure you did, drop us a subscription, like, and also comment below. Until the next one, as always, we out.